I am my home.
Right. I love this. What do you do?
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us once again on Rockland's News in the afternoon. And this is very special material, episode footage, content for those of you that are into the social media stuff. We are starting to talk with the bands that are going to be playing over at Rockland Music Fest 12, which is scheduled for September 12th over at Bowline Park now. Yeah, we're moving this baby around, and we decided to settle in on a beautiful Hudson River viewing park. We're going to have our largest act as of yet in the past 12 years. We're bringing in Appetite for Destruction, the largest Guns N' Roses tribute band on the entire East Coast, is going to be at Bowline Point Park on Saturday, September 12th. Tickets are on sale now at rocklandmusicfest.com for just $24 a pop. But in addition to that, you're also going to get 5 amazing bands that are going to be performing throughout the entire day. And one of them, named Regular Riot, we have Gary Levine on, who's the drummer for Regular Riot. Gary, thanks for joining us today.
Tom, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's good to reconnect with you. We know each other for a few years at networking groups. You're a professional. I'm a professional. But we need to decompress. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we take it out on the drums a little bit.
It helps.
Yeah. I saw you during the audition because I took a step back and, have judges and everything. You guys did a great job at the audition. Regular Riot performed about 2 weeks ago as an audition, and they were just like, yeah, they're in. So, tell us a little bit. We talk sometimes about music, but, the band I'm not really familiar with, only the awesome stuff that you did over there. So tell us a little bit about the band and really just have at it, my man.
Yeah, for sure. First off, thank you, Tom, for number one, having me on today, and definitely having us as a part of Rockland Music Fest. That's awesome. I know how much, just from knowing you the last few years, I know how much hard work goes into it. So to be a part of it is special. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah, man. So Regular Riot. So we actually, I was involved in another project, and Regular Riot, they were a different band name at the time. They were doing their own thing, and they were moving pretty slowly. They had some issues with one of their bandmates, and I think it was their drummer, whatever it was. And we also were kind of moving slow, and I kind of wanted to move a little faster. So I went on this, there's a thing called band mix, and you kind of match musicians to bands to musicians, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I found these guys, which was Pat and Mark, and said they were looking for a drummer, and they had a bass player, and it was all good. And originally it was I was under the impression it was a cover band, which it kind of was. But then once I came on board, and then I found out there was some originals, which at first I was like, I don't know, because I kind of want to be in just a cover band, but the originals are really good. And I listened to them, and I started learning them, and the more we played them, they were like, all right, this is good. I was enjoying the project. And then the final piece was, we had an issue with the previous bass player, so my other project that was moving a little slowly, I recruited that bass player, and the 4 of us.
Yes.
Yeah, and the 4 of us clicked. We've only been together for, with the bass player, a little over 2 months. But fortunately, all 4 members have been playing their respective instruments for over 20 years and in different projects. So it wasn't that difficult. The 4 of us, and the chemistry was there.
Right.
The music was there. And yeah, so I was making, joking around when I told my bass player he was joining a cover band, and I said that, I duped them because we had the originals, but once he heard them, he was like, I'm on board too. So we're excited to perform and do some really cool covers that we think. We have a couple of mashups, and then we're also going to be showcasing our own original material. So we're looking forward to it.
That's right. And we're big on original material. It's very tough to break into the original music market, especially on the Northeast, as we've encountered. But it's some of the stuff that you had was, I find it, my personal opinion on it is it's not a good idea to do all covers, and it's not a good idea to do all originals, especially when you're making it. The mix is actually a very, very smart move because people like to connect with the songs that they know. They want to do the sing-alongs and so on and so forth. And but then just throwing in that original every once in a while and just kind of mix it up is like, whoa, all right, these guys got
Yeah,
chops, and they're not
for
just
sure.
like, like they're not just doing stuff from other people, they're doing their own original stuff, which really makes a difference. Um, so your influences, for instance, I heard Gin Blossoms in there, and those are Rockland based natives back in the day.
That's
They
right.
There was also I believe that you did something from Collective Soul, if I'm not mistaken. You did
Yeah,
Shine from
we did Shine, but we had a little mashup there. We incorporated Lord's
Yes. Yep.
song Royals in
Royals.
there. So yeah, which I kind of got drawn to when I first the first couple of practices, and they were like, all right, we have this thing, and they're like, just play Shine, you know it, and you'll see when the change comes in. And sure enough, we're doing the part, and all of a sudden Pat, our lead singer, just broke into Royals, and as we on the drum set, I was just smiling at him like, all right, that's cool. I can see that. So yeah, they definitely they're good. Mark and Pat, I'm super grateful to have met them, and I'm grateful that it worked out and it clicked because everything's going well. And I agree with you. I too like it. And at first I was not sure because I really was thinking cover band. That's usually when you want to get booked and you want to play out and do all that. A lot of people do. They do like covers, but once, like I said, once it came together, it was like, all right, these originals are good, and I think people will agree. I hope I hope so.
Well, we'll hand out candles just in case. It's just like if because you never know. I mean,
Nice.
and also I should note that sometimes like really good material, sometimes it'll do very well in one venue, and then in another venue it won't. And I've encountered that back in the day.
For
So
sure.
the
But yeah,
venue
the
definitely has a part of it too. Um,
but the influences are all we all come from a similar musical background. I mean, we're all into Foo Fighters. We all love Pearl
mm,
Jam. We're big into the Chili Peppers. But we go a little further back. We're doing a Joan Jett song. Like we're doing a Brian Adams song. And we just try to mix it up for everybody in different I guess genres, and as well as different time zones, time frames. One with some from the 80s, some from the 90s, but for the most part, we all have pretty similar influences, which helps, of course, especially with picking new material to move forward as well as writing.
absolutely. Who does the songwriting, the writing of the lyrics, the writing of the different notes? Do you guys just like jam out on a riff and then kind of build from there, or does somebody come in and say, "Hey, I got this cool thing that I want to try," and then everybody kind of like rallies around it?
It's a great question. We haven't written anything yet together, but to the best of my knowledge, I'm pretty sure it's Pat. Again, Pat's our lead singer and Mark's our lead guitar player. They both sing, both very good voices, and they're both super creative. But I'm pretty sure they did. They wrote all the original material. They wrote. Now myself and Mike, our bass player, Mike Riggio, who you met that day,
I actually went to high
he's kind
school
of,
with him.
and you that's even smaller of a world. I know Rachel as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild.
Um, when he walked in and he saw you guys, I was like, oh my, okay, that's pretty cool. So definitely happy to have that familiarity. Part of it.
Absolutely.
Um, but so yeah, then Mike started kind of obviously the bass is the bass. It's gonna be in the same key as the guitars are doing, but he started adding his own fills, his own grooves to it. He's super creative as well. I mean, all three of them. I'm very lucky to be a part with these guys. And of course, I heard the tracks, and I made the drums my own. Um, and so right now, as far as the creative part of it, it's everything's been written. But to answer your question a little more accurately, I would say that it's usually going to come down to probably the riff, probably the opening, and then we'll work together. And then Mike, of course, now that he'll be a part of the writing process, I'm sure he'll be sitting down with Mark and Pat and going over it as far as the music goes.
That's going to help. Yeah, absolutely. And let's before we finish, I want to kind of get into, I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast that you and I know each other for several years. I remember that we were over at your house and we were jamming out in the basement You
Yes.
got me on the drums, and I was
Let
jamming
me
out.
just cut it off and tell you the coolest part about that day
Yeah.
was that you had your long hair at the time. You walked in, you
Yeah,
had
that's right.
kind of a tighter, like a tight white t-shirt, blue jeans, and you had your drumsticks that coming out of your back pocket. It was like high school all over again. So kudos on that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to, like, post high school be cool, and that's the closest thing I could
You're
think
doing,
of is just have drumsticks in the back of the pocket.
dude.
Um,
You nailed it. You
Thank you.
nailed it, man.
You have an
But go on.
no, please. But you have, I mean, like, you got an amazing setup downstairs. Let's get into your part of this as a fellow drummer. So, how did you pick up the drums? How did you really connect? Because I saw how you played, and I actually didn't have a chance to watch you play. You were, just like you told me, hey, hop on the drums. I didn't really get a chance to see you play, but at the audition, I did, and I was like, wow, this dude not only is like right on time, but he also hits hard, which is something that's good for a hard rock drummer. So how did you get into it?
I got into drums when I was like I think 12 or 13 years old, and it was one of my best friends at the time. His name was Gabe, and he brought his drumsticks on the bus every day, and he was always doing what's the it's like that one first thing they teach everybody.
Oh, the paradiddles?
It was either paradiddle or he was doing some sort of single stroke roll, but he was showing off with it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. And so I took it.
Mm.
Next thing you know, what I was doing was I was setting up drums using books and pots and pans on my bed,
Yep.
and
Can relate.
I
Yep.
was the more heck yeah, man. Pillows, pots, pans, and books is what I would use, and I tried to set up a set. And now my dad, rest in peace, he was a music teacher, and what he started doing was he started bringing home pieces of drums for me from from his school, which was he used to teach in Brooklyn, and he started bringing home pieces until ultimately I had a very basic kit. And then I was able to, I couldn't really do it with any other instrument, but I was able to just sit down and play.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up ultimately taking lessons, but that didn't really go far because, with lessons, all I wanted to do was rock out. I just wanted to, jam with my buddies and play songs. And I didn't want to learn about the rudiments and reading and everything that I wish I would have done. And that's pretty much what I did all through high school. I was always playing in the shows, and I had a band all the way till I was about 23, and it was cool. We actually got on what was it called, TNA Wrestling.
Mm.
They used our music, and yeah, it was fun. They had used our singer, who has passed since also, unfortunately, but he had a hookup with like WWE wrestling, so we were able to go record in their studio, and that was like our claim, a little claim to fame. And then after that, I kind of just laid back, and I wasn't really playing in bands. I always played, but I just wasn't really playing in bands for a while. And then kids happen, life gets in the way, and then ultimately I'm back into it now. So just excited to be a part of a cool project, and and definitely this venue that you put together.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. This one on the Hudson River. Have you ever been to Bowline before or no?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Sure.
so you know the vibe. It's like, it's overlooking the Hudson River. It's a big wide space. They have the stage from the town there, but we're working on getting the stage similar to what we had last year, which is like about 25 feet across, 20 or 30 feet in depth, and that just gives you a lot of room to move around. So we'll have a classy setup for you guys because you deserve it. And
Appreciate. Well, I'll tell you
should
who
be fun.
deserves it. Appetite for Destruction deserves it. I'm super excited. I'm a huge GNR guy, as
Me
you
too,
know.
man.
So I'm like just so amped for that. So
Now,
that should be awesome.
my friend mentioned this to me a long time ago, and we actually looked for the movie that brings this up. Here's an open-ended question: is it appropriate or not appropriate to wear a Guns N' Roses T-shirt to a tribute concert? Now, it's a little bit of a twist because in the movie they said you're not supposed to wear, like, let's say for instance, if you're going to an
I remember
Aerosmith
the movie.
concert, right?
Yep, I
But
remember the movie.
but does it count if it's a tribute band? That's the thing I'm not sure of because it's going to inform our marketing too.
Well, I'll tell you what. I never bought, even when that what was that movie? That was PCU or It was Can You Blow Me Where the Pampers Is? Remember that line? That was that was the movie that it was in. I just can't remember the name, but
Yeah.
we're not going to protest. They had that whole part, but yeah, they were
Right.
like, well, you can't wear that T-shirt to the. I never bought into that. I really never did. I kind of felt like, well, so what? You're not supposed to wear your sports team's jersey to the game?
Right.
No, of
Right.
course you can. And I recently went to a hate breed show, and I wore my hate breed on my shirt. And but to answer your question, I think it's perfectly appropriate to wear a GNR shirt to a GNR tribute band. If anything, it's inappropriate not to. I mean, these guys are breaking their butts to try to bring as much live GNR from back in the day right to you. At least I think it's appropriate to support the band that they're tributing to.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of things. There's like a whole Reddit thing that talks about it, if it's wrong to wear the band shirt or not. There's something on
That's funny.
Uprocks. Yeah. There's
That's funny.
I
Yeah,
think we'll
everyone has their
post that
Yep.
in the comments at the end of this, just to incite conversation and find out. But
Listen, just from my opinion. My opinion is perfectly appropriate. Somebody else might disagree. That's all good. But I actually might wear a GNR shirt that day too.
yeah, yeah. Well, I have a few ideas, and I'll tell you about this offline when we're done. But there's a song or two that I definitely want to do a bit of a tribute to of my own. And well, I'll talk with you about it later. But I am very much looking forward to hanging out with you and listening to Regular Riot. And before we end, I got to ask you about, because originally the band was going to be called Turtle Riot, and you guys switched it to Regular Riot. So give me the background on that name.
Turtle Riot, a couple of us loved, a couple of us didn't. It wasn't. But then as we kind of looked into it, we ultimately, I think there's a couple of other bands out there. It's either like Turtle Riot Mania or Turtle Riot. There was a couple of different variations that name was used. So we're like, you know what? Let's just go with Regular Riot. Our singer actually said he's a huge Honeymooners guy, and that's kind of where that came from.
Mhm.
So we liked the word riot in the band, and we're like, Regular Riot's cool. So we were all just like, yeah, let's go with it. That it wasn't, it was something that the four of us kind of just said, we can agree. I guess it was something that we could agree on, because that was picking a name. I'm not gonna lie, man. Picking a name has and can break up a band, because you can't come
Oh,
up with something, or
absolutely.
you can't agree. And we had some drama. As small as our term has been together, our tenure together has been only a couple of months. We legit had drama with the name, but it was going back and forth. And then, of course, things in text always get misconstrued. And there was a little bit of there. And then we got together and we're like, guys, this is stupid. Let's just get together and let's talk about it. And that's what we did. And we worked it out. But yeah, no, Turtle Riot. I definitely, I was down with Turtle Riot, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I'm perfectly happy with Regular Riot.
I got to
So,
tell you, and
also, I wanted to tell you too, by
yeah,
the way, because we spoke a couple of weeks ago about the venue, and we are talking about good spots, and you were, I know how hard you were working. So when I saw that, but that you landed Bowline, I immediately called the guys. I was like, yeah, you got Bowline, and everybody was excited, because it's just nice work, Tom, because it's a
thank you.
great place to play.
Yeah, and I'm going to pass along the praise to Town of Haverstraw Supervisor Howard Phillips. We had a great meeting
Please do.
yesterday, along with the Town of Haverstraw Police Chief, Parks and Rec. So we're aiming over the next 16 or 17 days to really just deploy an awesome show over there. Following all the guidelines like we usually do. Last year we did it
Of
over at
course.
Clover Stadium. We had 1,200 people there. I can't imagine us getting past like 2,000 or 3,000 people this year, which is okay, because last year was a heavy lift. And this time it's like expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. So this one we're taking a little bit of a breather, but obviously with the quality musicians that we have, such as yourself, as well as Appetite for Destruction. Plus we have the George Romano Band. We have Lillian Brown and the Groove Cat. I believe they auditioned alongside you guys, right?
Dude, they were killer.
Yeah.
They were killer.
Yeah, she was swinging, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she was.
Yeah.
We're yeah, I mean, our whole band was talking about it at the next practice. Really, we were all looking forward to their set, definitely.
Yep.
Because they definitely killed it at the audition.
Plus, I got to introduce you to my friend JP Conks. He's a Southern Rock. He's up north over in East Greenwood Lake. Definitely got to get you guys connected. He's going to be opening. He's going to be like the opening slot right before Appetite for Destruction. And then Michael Hilliard in the Working Class. And he's kind of like a local legend around here. Like he started up. He made his own album, and it'd be good to bring him home. He was He was at I think it was Rockland Stony Music Fest before we changed the name. Stony Music Fest, either 7 or 8, a few years ago, and he did a great performance. But that is just the more incentive to raise the bar, right?
Yeah, man. It's gonna. I mean, the whole idea. I mean, even if, assuming we weren't playing, that's something that we just want to be a part of. It's a fun day. It's a family atmosphere. It's there's good bands playing. There's food. It's looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So, Gary Levine from Regular Riot, I'm looking forward to your performance. Thank you for joining us on our Rockland Music Fest podcast. And we're going to be having a lot more episodes with the different performers over the next several weeks. And you'll be able to catch this episode on our Rockland News podcast, available on Apple and Spotify. So, Gary, thanks for joining us today. And we'll see everyone next time. Stay tuned. And remember, Rockland Music Fest tickets are available right now. If you head over to rocklandmusicfest.com, and you can pick up tickets for as low as $24. What a deal! And we're going to have an awesome performance on September 12th over at Bowline Park. On behalf of everyone at Rockland News and Rockland Music Fest, my name is Tom Os, and we'll catch you next time. Take care for now.